Hello, and today we're doing an FPL review for the blank game week 29, and it was an absolute humdinger. What a one to remember, because many people got an awful score because they didn't realise there was only 4 games this week. But I had the planning, I had the transfers, I had this in the back of my mind, and it paid off big time. So let's review my game week. So, to start off with, before we get into anything, which player got the most points this game week? Was it A, Veltman? Was it B, Jesse Lingard? Was it C, Leandro Trossard? Or was it D, Patrick Bamford? Comment down who you think it was. Oh no, I'm not going to give you the chance because the answer is Leandro Trossard. So we go into this week with a -4 hit, and we wanted to replace the injured Heung-min Son. And there was a few different options to replace him. There was Gareth Bale, but I thought Tottenham looked awful on Thursday night and I wasn't going to go near them. And then there was also El Ghazi, who, you know, on his day can score points, but it is a bit more of a risk. Just like with Gareth Bale, it's a risk that he will necessarily play. Obviously, he's still done well and he deserves to play, but he's less nailed than someone like Harry Kane. Then we also had the option of Bertrand Traore back from injury, but we thought, nah, Aston Villa probably will struggle without Jack Grealish. And then we thought, well, maybe we go for someone else like, you know, an Arsenal player, Emil Smith-Rowe or Martin Odegaard. But we already had Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, so we didn't want to go with that. So after all of that deliberation, we went with Leandro Trossard. He scored a wonderful goal in the South Coast Derby against Southampton. And I just thought, against Newcastle, it would be a good time for him to get points. And he could score against anyone. I think he is fixture-proof, Leandro Trossard. So we thought, I tell you what, let's go for it. We've got faith in it. And we made the transfer, Son to Trossard. It did make a great difference to my team this week because Trossard was the highest scoring player of game week number 29. 14 points, 3 bonuses. Thank you very much. Whereas Son, of course, was not in the Tottenham squad due to his unfortunate long-term injury. But the other transfer we made in this -4 hit was to get in a forward. And that man was Harry Kane. And the reason was it was just too long not having him. I got rid of him in that absolute nightmare moment this season where he looked really good. He looked essential. I got him in ahead of Liverpool at home. And then he went and got injured. I don't know how he managed it. And right away we had to make a -4 to get him out again. But he's back in and he scored a goal in his return to the team. A lovely penalty against Aston Villa. So that's what you love to see. He was so close as well with a long-range effort that just went past Martinez's left-hand post. But yeah, it was in for Jamie Vardy, and fair play Vardy. You know, you did amazing stuff for me in game week 28 with that Sheffield United 13-pointer. So I'm very pleased that you ended my team on a high, but it was time to go because to get Kane in, it was the most, you know, likely move because Vardy is very similar to Kane in his price. And I don't have to rip up too much of my team to get Kane in that way. And I could have kept Calvert-Lewin by doing that, who's got quite nice fixtures going forward and a possible double game week soon. So, yeah, it was a nice move. Vardy has, been pretty decent in the Sheffield United game, but that was Sheffield United. And generally, Leicester going forward haven't been amazing. It's more been Iheanacho that's outshined him. And I think Vardy will improve alongside Iheanacho, but I don't know, I think without Harvey Barnes and without James Maddison, Vardy's not the same player. And he just looks like he's in a bit of a rut at the minute, wasting chances. And we saw that in the FA Cup against Manchester United, that really big chance at 2-1. You thought that could have been a turning point, but luckily for Leicester, Iheanacho saved the day. So ultimately, that was a good transfer to make. I think Vardy, long term, you don't know if he's going to score. Whereas Harry Kane, you can always back it. So that was my other transfer. So both my transfers in, they got goals. And Leandro Trossard also got an assist and 3 bonuses. So let's pick the bones of this game week and go through my team, player by player. And then right at the end, we will talk about my overall rank and how that's affected my mini-leagues. And of course, I am in 18 mini-leagues. So how many of those have I gone up in them? Well, we shall find out, people. But let's begin by doing a step-by-step look at this game week. So to start off with, who do I think was the villain of the game week? And for me, that man was a general player in FPL who wasn't necessarily in my team, might have been, but just across the FPL game week made things a bit bad. And that, for me, was Craig Dawson. I don't own Craig Dawson, and thank goodness I don't, but man, he scores another own goal, and it's so annoying. So first of all, it's annoying because, we wanted Arsenal to do fairly well, and Aubameyang needed the goal, obviously, for my team. I don't have an Arsenal defender, so that's, that's good, I suppose. But I do have a West Ham defender, and Dawson basically took away those points for my West Ham defender, Cresswell, that I own, that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, it was so frustrating, Craig Dawson. He goes and scores another own goal. Just, sort yourself out. And in the chance that he scores that own goal, it's brilliant work from the fullback Chambers. And he just shows the determination to keep going. But then Aubameyang is ready in the box for a sweat, for a tap-in. And that could have been the goal to revive his form. And if he gets that, there's no way he's missing that. But unfortunately, Dawson is the one that has to go above him and go in front of him and slide it in inadvertently. So annoying for Cresswell because it's another goal conceded, and annoying for Aubameyang because it could have been some more points. So yeah, not happy with you, Craig Dawson. Hopefully you can score some more goals at the right end so it doesn't hurt my other West Ham defenders. But yeah, that really was a bit of a nightmare. So in terms of the villain of my team, that team, of course, being Why Do I Never Win, owned by yourself, Roberto Hollis, FPL manager. And the villain of my team this week is simply Aaron Cresswell. Now, it's not very often I've said this because Cresswell has had an absolutely phenomenal season, and I've owned him since game week 9 and never looked back. Kept him the whole time, and he's got points galore. He is just a bonus points machine. But in this game for West Ham, defensively, it just all went to pot. They were going forward, they were looking really threatening. They put Arsenal really in trouble very early on, and then the defence just fell apart. And part of that was Aaron Cresswell. And, I don't blame him as much as I do Craig Dawson, but yeah, it just wasn't his best game today, or that game against Arsenal was Aaron Cresswell. We know he's got amazing set-piece delivery, great assist potential, just didn't get the set pieces to do it in this game. But in terms of his defence, well, when he was scoring that own goal, Craig Dawson, it was Cresswell that slid in to try and prevent the cross coming in, and he couldn't do it. He slipped after the cross in from Chambers, and just a little bit of a sloppy game from Cresswell. Gets a yellow card as well, and it ends on 0 points. So how Cresswell doesn't get a single point when we know he's got such attacking potential, I don't know. But it's really disappointing to see him concede 3 goals, especially when West Ham were in such a commanding position. But, Cresswell, you've done it so many times for me this season, so I'm very much obliged to forgive you this time. But, yeah, less of that. But now we move on to my Why Do I Never Win Hero of the Week. And we've already mentioned his name, but it is the Belgian. It's always a Belgian. As Spencer FC says, Leandro Trossard is my hero because I transfer him in. I have faith in a good fixture against Newcastle, but you never know. It could have been another 0-0. Newcastle like to grind out results sometimes. But Trossard, what a fantastic finish. Just took the ball and then dropped the shoulder, run past the defender and just curled it. No chance for Marcin Dubravka, and that's a brilliant goal. And then, of course, gets an assist as well, which is lovely stuff for the goal scored by the very much in form, well, I say in form, but most of the time in form, Danny Welbeck. So, yeah, lovely stuff, really. And I can't be happier with that when you transfer in a player that, is obviously going to be better than his replacement, Son Heung-min, who was out injured. But it was a bit of a differential shout. It was a bit of a risky one, but it really did pay off. And I just think he could be a good one to hold. Despite the tough fixtures, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, oh, well, you should have got Gareth Bale. Well, Gareth Bale didn't play. And you're going to say, oh, well, you should have got Lucas Moura because long-term Spurs' fixtures are better. But is Lucas Moura nailed on to play? Well, if Son eventually came back after the international break, who even knows? Maybe he would get out of the team, Lucas Moura. And Trossard is a big part of that Brighton team. He's going to play, and maybe he could even score against the big teams. He scored against Spurs this season already, and, it has that capability to compete with the best of the best. I think he's a very good player, Leandro Trossard, and he could play for a big team if he keeps on this kind of form. So, yeah, really happy with you, Trossard. 14 points. Have a bit of that. But now let's get into my player per player, review of the game week. It was obviously going to be a tough one for a lot of people. If you didn't pre-plan this game week and you didn't look ahead, then you were probably in trouble because, four games on is a nightmare. A lot of the big teams not playing, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, and even people like Liverpool. Yes, they are having a terrible season, but they still got fairly good FPL assets that can score goals at times. So ultimately, it was a bit of a nightmare. But some people, they negotiated through it with their free hit. I didn't have my free hit. So the fact is, I got 10 players out to play this week, despite not having the free hit. So I used my free hit in game week 18 when there was just about 6 games, I think. And that week, I captained Harry Kane. And I had an amazing blank game week. And once again, I've had a great blank game week. I captained Kane this week, and it was a really good haul of points. And you just can't be disheartened with that. I'm buzzing. So 60. Oh, I nearly gave away my point score there. No, we're going to leave that at the end. But no, in the last blank game week, I got 61 points. So I wonder what I got this time. But the main thing is, it was a great week. And let's kick off as to why that was the case. So, yeah, all right. We don't need to talk about the defence, okay? Because starting off with the goalie, it wasn't ideal. But I had Sanchez weeks and weeks ago. He did well for me in a nice little spell. I had a purple patch from that Brighton defence. And then I just thought, I'm going to move on. I've had enough of you. I'm going to move to Martinez because he was just too good to not own. And I just wanted to have him as a set and forget for the rest of the season. So I probably will do that. I'm not too disheartened that Brighton kept a clean sheet because it was likely to happen against Newcastle. And I obviously didn't get a Brighton defender. I got Trossard instead. So I'm not too disheartened because my midfield made up for that lack of clean sheets. Martinez, though, long-term is amazing, and he gets so many save points, so many clean sheets. Recently, for Villa, it has dropped off, and, we were just so unlucky in that Newcastle away game. But against Spurs, it was probably likely to not get a clean sheet for Martinez. And the main thing was that I captained Harry Kane, so I knew it was going to swing either one of two ways, that Martinez has an absolute blinder, keeps a clean sheet, and Kane blanks as captain, or, like many people do, they captain Kane because they think he's going to get a return, and we just, accept that Martinez is not going to get many. And Martinez did finish on 1 point this week, which, yeah, is a bit of a shame. But ultimately, we're not going to get too, bogged down by it because ultimately it was a tough fixture. And, Aston Villa are still very much a good team for clean sheets this season. So don't lose the faith. It's 1 point for Martinez due to the 2 goals conceded, -1 on his tally. But yeah, he could have on another day got some more save points. It is what it is. We move on to the defence, and I mentioned that it wasn't great. It wasn't really that good at all. So let's start off with the player who didn't play in my defence, and that was John Stones. We just played him in the team just because it looked nice, really. We know how much of a legend John Stones has been for this team over the season. That amazing double game week haul in game week 19. You will never be forgotten. Lundstrom's kind of hauls, really. Amazing. Goal against Crystal Palace, and then I think a goal against, or an assist or something. I've forgotten. It was so long ago. But the point is, Stones has established his legacy in this team, and I just felt like playing, and even though he wasn't playing, I had no other defenders to play. Diaz, of course, was on the bench just because, why not? But yeah, Stones, we don't need to talk about that because, of course, he didn't have a game. But next to him was my first of playing defender, and that was Matt Targett. And we brought Matt Targett in the last couple of game weeks. We brought him in for that game against Newcastle. And, he got 2 bonus points when he really should have got an assist. So, very, very good attacking potential we know he's got. And unlucky to not get the points. And Matt Targett, a similar story really to Aaron Cresswell in the fact that it was a tough fixture against, Spurs, just like with Arsenal. And a bit of a frustrating one because Matt Targett got booked right at the end of the game. If he could have just held out a little bit longer. But yeah, 2 goals conceded, -1, just like Martinez. But yellow cards, it goes all the way down to 0, and you don't like to see that really. But Matt Targett is a good enough defender to really be happy with across the season. This week, it just wasn't my week. And Aaron Cresswell, we've talked about him already, but he also got 0 points. Yeah, absolute nightmare. Carbon copy of what happened to Matt Targett. But like we know with Matt Targett, Cresswell's got so many attacking potential points this season. And I think in a sort of game like next week when they play Wolves, you can see a better return, possibly a clean sheet with Wolves struggling to score goals without their main man, Raul Jimenez. But ultimately, Cresswell didn't have the greatest of games against Arsenal. And we will just, reflect on that and take it on the chin. But we know he can really get big points. And there's been weeks where I've nearly captained him, I'll be honest. And that week was Sheffield United and he got like 10 points. So imagine if we'd have done it. But the main thing is to say Cresswell, great player to own. And if you haven't already got him in your team, I would seriously consider it. And then moving on to our final defender, we had Stuart Dallas. And it was a good fixture against Fulham. Was I hoping a clean sheet? Of course I was. But ultimately, Fulham did score, and it was a bit of a jammy goal, but from a set piece, Anderson scored his first in Fulham colours, and he kind of just prods it, gets to it before the defender does. So yeah, not great from Dallas really. A lot of people at least looking for a attacking return, if not a clean sheet, but it just wasn't his day. And we know, just like with Cresswell and Targett, these players are quality. Dallas has so much attacking potential, and that's why he has confirmed himself as the this season's Lundstrom. He's just been absolutely brilliant from day one when he's been in my team. I will always remember that wonderful free kick against Leicester, just bending it in. Whether he meant it or not, it was genius. And not great this week to see the clean sheet go. But ultimately, it is what it is. Now we move on to the more positive side of things, and this is where we really did get up in our rank, because the midfield just absolutely on fire. I mean, it's brilliant to see. So to start off with, we're going to talk about Jesse Lingard. What a player he has become at West Ham. He just is fitting into that role perfectly, and it was just a great move from Man United. And I wouldn't imagine it would be too long until he made that move permanent, because he just looks like he's so comfortable in that team. He seems to really understand the rest of the players, and he scored an absolutely fantastic thumping strike. No chance for Bird Leno. He just takes one touch and then just smashes it. Lovely spin on the ball, no chance on the volley, and it's a brilliant, brilliant goal. So early on, he just so quick out the blocks, and that is what you love to see. So then he goes and gets an assist. Really nice, quick thinking to get the free kick onto Jared Bowen, and Bowen just squeezes it through the legs of Leno. So yeah, really inventive from Lingard, and he likes to pop out the celebrations. He always seems to score and get points against Arsenal, so that was part of my thinking this week. But he was a player that I did get in for this blank game week, and it really did help. And he just looks so in form. He can't be stopped right now, so I'm very, very happy with him. And 2 bonuses, of course, is always what you like to see. It was a shame it wasn't 3, but Lacazette, right at the end of the match, just came out with the goods, really, and got the 3 bonus points. So it's a bit of a shame to see him snatch it away from him, but still, I could not be much more proud of you, Jesse. Well done, son. Now we move on to Rafinha, and to be fair, the Leeds boys are looking pretty good right now. They're a pretty consistent, team to rely on in FPL, and they score lots of goals. That's why they're so attacking and fun to watch this season, because they just love to score goals. And it was a nice goal to win it from Rafinha. Just really clever, good run, got the pace to get there, and then prodded it past a hopeless Areola. So yeah, well done, Rafinha. Recently, it's been a lot of promise with the skills and the movement, but then not the product. But yeah, it's good to see him back in the goals and getting a bonus point as well. So that's really nice. 8 points from Rafinha. 12 points, of course, it was from Lingard. But then we move to our only disappointment of the midfield this week, and the only attacker, of course, in my team this week to have not scored, which just shows how good of a week it was. But yeah, it was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's still a great player, but this season he's been a bit patchy, and it is frustrating. But, we got him in for this game week. At least he played, and, ultimately, he has learnt from, I think, that disciplinary measure taken. He is going to really, try and get mature and get back into that Arsenal team, get back in the form. And I think it's one of those ones you got to be patient with Aubameyang. A big haul could always be on the horizon, and he can score a hat-trick whenever he likes. So I'm going to keep the faith, but it's a bit disappointing to see him not getting those points. And he did actually not play in the week that I wanted Stuart Dallas to come off my bench with the clean sheet against Chelsea. So yeah, it wasn't a nightmare the first week we brought him in, but I guess it was more of a long-term move, and hopefully Aubameyang can justify his big price, and that is, of course, 11.5 million. But yeah, he played 80 minutes, nearly did score with that own goal from Dawson. So yeah, we've got to keep the faith, I think. But the vice-captain, 2 points. You don't like to see it. But then Leandro Trossard. It's always a Belgian. What a legend. And great transfer in by me. 78 minutes played, which is quite nice. Gets a little rest for the next game, and hopefully will be fit and firing to go against the Red Devils. Scores a lovely goal, gets a great assist, gets a clean sheet, of course, as a midfielder, and 3 bonuses. I mean, that really couldn't have gone much better as a transfer in. So, yeah, really happy with that, and hopefully he will keep on doing what he's doing. Then front 2 were very prolific, both English strikers, and both scoring goals. And the first one was, of course, my captain, Harry Kane. And obviously, it would have been nice to have captained Rafinha, or captained Bamford, or captained even Trossard. But, was I realistically going to do that? Probably not. Because Bamford had an injury risk. We didn't know if he was going to 100% play, probably 90%, but I wasn't going to take that risk. And with Rafinha, he's not been getting a lot of goals recently, so I wasn't completely confident on it. So, ultimately, it was the more sensible move to captain Harry Kane. In hindsight, it would have been better to captain someone else, but at least Harry Kane returned, He is very reliable from the spot, slotted it away very nicely and won the penalty for himself. Completely rash challenge, to be fair, from Aston Villa's Matty Cash. He's just not won the ball there at all, and Harry Kane wasn't going to miss that one. So really confidently struck into the corner, and thank you very much. Captain return. A bonus point to go along with it, which is really good to see. But yeah, mainly the captain scored, and that's always what we want to see. So then finally, after that 14-point haul from Harry Kane, equaling Trossard's without the captaincy, we have the final striker, Patrick Bamford, and what a great game he had. Despite not being 100% in terms of fitness, he hobbled off against Chelsea. We weren't sure how he was going to be, and he was kind of okay, but you saw he said after the game he was kind of trying to preserve himself, trying to not over-exert his energy and make an injury worse. So it's good to see he's protecting himself, but also, he can be quick enough and agile enough without hurting himself to score goals. And that is the sign of a lethal striker, because they can just score from very unlikely chances. And it was a brilliant finish. The cross in from Harrison, really nice. And he just kind of beat the defender to it. Very quick reactions and slotted it lovely into the back of the net. So thank you, Patrick Bamford. Got the assist as well for Rafinha's goal. You can't really ask for more than that. A shame about the yellow card, of course, but, some strikers get yellows at times. And 3 bonuses, lovely stuff, despite that yellow card. So what a great haul from Bamford, 11 points. And we will take that indeed. In terms of the bench, of course, it was Mendy, Gundogan, Calvert-Lewin and Diaz, all of which didn't play. But technically, Gundogan got a return because, he scored in the FA Cup. But no, it was a different competition. So anyway, but that is my team. Player by player, wrapped up for this game week. It has been a great one. But how did we finish in terms of points? Well, you probably might have worked it out just by hearing each player's points total. But, if you couldn't bother to do that, I'll tell it for you. I scored 64 points this week. Get in. What an amazing score. And it's 64. What a score. Hey, I'm a poet and I don't even know it. But mainly, I'm buzzing with that because it's, an amazing game week rank of 274k, 752. And the highest points this week, fair play, 104 because they bench boost. Fair enough. If you have Trossard on the bench boost, you're not going to be regretting that one. But they also captained Rafinha, that's just a bit jammy. Bazoka, I think it is, from Egypt, if I'm right in thinking. So, yeah, the Egyptian king didn't play this week, but yeah, he'll be back for game week 30, so we'll see what happens there. But the main thing is, we had a great week, and it meant we are now at an overall rank of 311,716. Get in there. It's in a massive, massive green arrow because, you know, we didn't use any chips. We took the -4, so technically it's 60, but 64, other points of it. But 64 is a great score. Booyah! So, yeah, overall points, 1,800. Very happy with that. And it's gone from 406k to 311. So that is a rise of 95k. That, my friends, is progress. So let's keep on doing those kind of green arrows and keep on emulating my stunning week that I had. Because I blanked in 2018 and I got 61. This time we got better than that, 64. So yeah, way over average, and it's good to see we're picking up pace with these green arrows. The only one, Aubameyang, was a bit of a nightmare really, but KDB, Fernandes, Salah, could I get one of those soon? Maybe. We don't know because there's a lot of options, but we've got a lot of time to think because it isn't going to be now an international break, and ultimately I think that, you know, we've still got a triple captain chip to play. That's the only one left. We didn't have to play, bench boost this week or anything, but we played it in game week 26, and that was just a nightmare, so we won't talk about that. But yeah, I'm really happy about this game week, really happy about this team in general. To see us in 311k, 716 is a good position to be, and hopefully we can break into that top 200k by the end of the season. It's going to be tough, but I believe, and we've gone up of our 18 mini leagues, 10 of them we've gone up in, which is brilliant. So, yeah, hopefully we can keep climbing, keep putting the pressure on, and, keep going up in our mini league. So that was my FPL review for game week 29. I hope you have enjoyed. Smash a like on it. 1,800 overall points, remember. We are getting high in the overall ranks. And comment down below, how did your game week 29 go? It was a bit of a shocker for a lot of people. A lot of people dreaded it. But some people did very, very well. So, yeah, hope you have enjoyed. It's another green arrow. And we have got 64. I say we have got 64. Thanks for watching.